Hello, Eckhart.
Hello.
I'm Michaela.
Hi.
Pleased to meet you, and it's a privilege and a beautiful experience to be here and to be able to ask you a question.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
My question is about faith, and I meant to ask you if you could explain faith in the way Jesus spoke about it when he said, if you had faith as small as a mustard seed, you could say to that mountain over there, move, and the mountain would move, because nothing is impossible for the one who has faith.
Yes. Thank you. Good question. Sometimes faith is misinterpreted as if it meant that you believe in something, especially in languages such as German, where faith and belief are the same word. So, but even in English, sometimes people equate faith and belief. Belief really is you believe in something that you hear or read about, and conventional Christianity asks you to believe in a story that you are told. And it says, if you believe in this story, then you are saved. But that's not faith, and that doesn't move mountains, and you're not really saved. There was a couple went to church, a wife and husband, and they came back from church where they heard exactly what you just said. The pastor was reading from the Bible, and the wife says to the husband, you know, outside our bedroom we have this little hill or mound that blocks our view. What I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to believe that it's going to disappear, because if Jesus says you can move mountains, surely you can move this little hill. And the husband says, that's a good idea. Okay, so the next morning, the wife opens the curtains, and it's still there. And she says to her husband, oh, you see, I knew it wasn't going to work. So that's not faith either. So just telling yourself, I believe this is going to happen, probably not, unless you're lucky. But faith, the true meaning of faith is power. And if you have faith means if you access the power that lies beyond all phenomena, if you access the source of life, if you find access to that, then that means you have faith. Faith is sensing in yourself the power of life itself, which is not of the person, which is deeper. The power of consciousness itself. Sensing that in yourself, and when you connect with that, you realize it's not so much that you connect with it, it's just that is the essence of who you are. So having faith really is being fully who you are in your essence. And of course the way to that, this is our entire teaching here, is to go beyond the noisy mind or whatever the mind produces into the dimension of alive stillness. And that's, you're touching the source. If you touch the source, So the personality needs to surrender so that you can go deeper. Otherwise, the personality, which includes the thinking mind, or is primarily the thinking mind, stands as a closed door. With a heavy personality, you cannot go any deeper. You're stuck. There's a closed door of the personality. So there's the Russian spiritual teacher Gurdjieff mentioned two aspects of a human being, which he called personality and essence. And he says some people, or most people in this world, have a strongly developed personality, but there's very little essence coming through. So essence is who you are beyond the personality. And he said occasionally it happens that there's an enormous amount of essence in rare human beings and very little personality. So most people you meet in this world have a fairly highly developed personality, especially in the Western world, but the whole world is becoming westernized. So even in the East now, you get people with big personalities. But if the personality recedes, and this is happening to us, then something more vital and more essential can shine through, and that is essence. And that is our life purpose. The essence begins to flow into also your mind. Your mind becomes a servant of, we call it awareness or aware presence, and it begins to tell you what it wants. But you may perceive it as something that I want, but it's not the egoic I anymore. It comes through, and it comes with something, or with something that you suddenly find yourself doing, or saying, or perhaps just intensely being. And so that is power moving through you. And that power is far greater than anything that you perceive in the world of form. And everything in the world of form is subject to it, so it can very easily change outer reality if that's what it wants. But not in a frivolous way, not like saying, oh, let's try this, not in that doesn't work, but in a non-frivolous way. It can, your inner state of connectedness then changes the way in which you interact with the world, and as that changes, the world changes. So there's the dividing line that there seems to be between you and the world isn't really there. There's a continuum between your state of consciousness and external reality. External reality, to a large extent, reflects your inner state of consciousness. And really, that you can move mountains, really what he's saying is that external reality is a reflection of the inner. And as humans are moving into that, I'm sure it is our destiny eventually to be able to completely change external reality if we wanted to, not as persons, but as co-creators of the one consciousness. They can then work through us and change things. So perhaps our destiny is then to become like, well, this is only meaningful for fans of Star Trek. There's a character in Star Trek Next Generation called Q, and this character can do anything. It can remove an entire galaxy, or it can put you from here to send you to another galaxy, or get total control over externals. But it doesn't quite make sense in Star Trek because he also seems to have a big ego, so that doesn't really go together. So that power would never be used for egoic ends, because then it becomes greatly weakened if it's used for egoic ends. So the flow becomes restricted. So that's the faith that moves mountains. That is what the Tao Te Ching is, the Te in the Tao Te Ching. The Te is power. And the Tao Te Ching shows you how to be in touch with that also, another version of it. So, and the power is inseparable from who you are in your essence. But ultimately it's saying God can move mountains. God in you and through you can move mountains. It doesn't really mean you can move mountains. God through you can move mountains, but you have to find the God in you so that the God can move mountains through you. If you haven't found the God in you, then it's not going to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.